Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. My name is Marcy Dragan, UC Hastings class of 1986 and chairwoman of the Board of Directors. On behalf of the Board of Directors, faculty, and the administration, I take great pleasure in calling to order this 133rd annual commencement ceremony for UC Hastings College of the Law. I'd also like to acknowledge my colleagues on the Board of Directors here today, Karen Fujisaki, Vice Chair, Tom Getty, and Mary Noel Pepys. Today we celebrate with pride your dedication and accomplishments. You've worked very hard to earn the degrees we are here to bestow. And we thank your family members and friends in attendance who have been there for you along the way and are here to celebrate your milestone today. Round of applause to thank each of you in attendance, students about to graduate, family members, and friends. Students, this is not a goodbye. This is a welcome. When you leave here today officially as a graduate, you join a worldwide community of alumni making our mark in nearly every field of human endeavor. You join us now as future lawyers, legislators, mediators, judges, legal scholars, partners in business who will go on to make a difference in this world. We look forward to your accomplishments. On behalf of the Board of Directors, it is our honor to share this important day with you. Together, we are UC Hastings. I would now like to introduce Chancellor and Dean Frank H. Wu, who will serve as the Masters of Ceremony.
Good afternoon and welcome. On behalf of the University of California, Hastings College of the Law, I welcome all of you and congratulate all of you, your family, and friends. We're here today to recognize your accomplishments, those of our graduates and those of the family and friends who supported them through what might have been stressful and difficult years as they trained to become the next generation of advocates and counselors, of problem solvers and leaders. We're all so proud of all of you today. We want to be sure that we recognize, though, the support network that each of you brought and that sustained you through the arduous study groups and Socratic dialogue and final exams. So before we proceed any further, please, a big hand to family and friends whose love and support brought you here today. Those who taught you, who have trained you, who have prepared you to stand up and speak out. The faculty who are so dedicated to the legal profession, to the advancement of knowledge, and to this school, but most importantly to all of you. They deserve a hand as well. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the Chancellor's Cabinet, those senior administrators on campus who make sure that the institution runs and runs well. All of them are here today, some gathered on stage, but others still working to ensure that this event is as smooth as possible. They are Elizabeth Hillman, Provost and Academic Dean, David Seward, Chief Financial Officer, Elise Trainum, Class of '86, General Counsel, Heather Field, Associate Academic Dean, Shino Nomiya, Assistant Dean of Institutional Advancement, Marie Hairston, Executive Director of HR, and Jake Hornsby, Chief Information Officer. Before I bring to the podium our student speakers, I'd like to share a few additional words of praise for all of you who are receiving recognition for your pro bono work today. At UC Hastings, we believe that public service and advancing the public good is the highest work that a lawyer can possibly do, and the delivery of pro bono services is integral to legal education and to the practice of law. The California Bar and the American Bar Association encourage attorneys to devote at least 50 hours annually to the provision of pro bono legal services. That is, for free, for clients who could not afford to retain all of you for that valuable advice and counsel. You, the class of 2014, took this admonition to heart to provide pro bono service, and 196 of today's graduates participated in our program. Of those, 76 met the goal that we have set and are recognized as members of the Pro Bono Society, and 28 went even further and met the higher aspirational goals set for licensed attorneys and are recognized now for outstanding achievement in pro bono. To get a sense of this work, together, all of you, the class of 2014, provided more than 10,550 hours of service. At a billing rate, modest billing rate of $100 per hour, that comes to legal services worth more than $1 million. We hope that this spirit of pro bono is a commitment that all of our graduates will continue to carry as they advance as lawyers. Will the graduates receiving recognition for pro bono service please stand? Now it is my pleasure to introduce the first of our two student speakers. The valedictorian here at UC Hastings is the member of the graduating JD class with the highest grade point average at the conclusion of 5 semesters. Among his achievements, this year's valedictorian was the production editor for the Hastings Law Journal, won a Moot Court Best Oral Advocate Award, numerous Cali and Witkin Awards for highest performance in a class, Outstanding Volunteer and Public Service Award from the Bar Association of San Francisco. Our valedictorian this year completed his undergraduate degree from UC Berkeley with a BA in economics and has lived his entire life in the Bay Area, except for a time when he studied in Barcelona, Spain. Prior to attending law school, he interned at San Francisco Magazine and wrote about local restaurants and bars. After studying for and taking the bar exam, he will join the international law firm of Lathan and Watkins here in its San Francisco office. Please welcome to the podium Max Mazzelli.
Thank you very much. To varying degrees, UC Hastings has been part of my life for longer than the past 3 years we are celebrating today. 5 years ago, I lived in the Tender Knob, a rather salaciously named neighborhood right up the hill from here, and I passed our campus every day on my commute down Hyde Street to the East Bay. On the days that the light was red at McAllister and Hyde, I remember sitting in my car and watching these smart-looking students, usually deep in thought or conversation, casually walk between the library and the 198 building with their cell phones and laptops and textbooks in hand. And I remember thinking two things in quick succession. First, what an incredibly interesting place to learn about the law. Followed immediately by, wow, I really wish that man would stop peeing on my car. Now, of course, my preconceived notions about the Tenderloin, like most preconceived notions, were wrong. And all jokes aside, I know helping the Tenderloin and communities like it motivated many of you to pursue a law degree in the first place. And that brings me to my main point. None of us should lose sight of why we decided to put ourselves through the 3-year emotional hurricane that is law school. For me, it happened 4 years ago. At that time, my life was easier. It was simpler. My responsibilities promptly ended at 5 p.m. every day. Reading was for pleasure. I could hang out and party with my friends whenever I wanted. And my eyesight, rivaled that of a hawk. I literally can't see anything past this podium. But that all changed immediately after accompanying my girlfriend to her admitted students' day at Santa Clara University School of Law, and accidentally sitting in on a mock legal ethics class. Within that hour, something clicked. It was not, unfortunately, the model rules of professional responsibility that caught my attention, but something about the subject matter fascinated me, and my inspiration for coming to law school was set. Simply put, I was, and still am, completely enamored with the law. I think it's a truly amazing and powerful subject. Now, I'll admit, that reason is pretty lame on the spectrum of reasons to get a JD. Nonetheless, I think it's important, not only for me, but for our entire Hastings community, because we all have our own inspirations and motivations for being here. Maybe it's, as I said before, to assist communities like the Tenderloin. Maybe it's to ensure criminal defendants receive a fair trial. Maybe it's to influence our country's immigration policies. Maybe it's to protect consumer rights or children's rights or the environment. Maybe it's to help broker corporate deals. Or maybe it's simply just to get into huge amounts of debt. But whatever that reason is, it shaped you, it shaped me, and it shaped the class of 2014 into our class. Our motivations guided us to different concentrations, different competitive teams, different clinics, different journals, different pro bono projects, different student organizations, different externships, and in many ways, our motivations guided us to the good, the great, and the best friends we will all take away from this experience. For example, I'm sure my love of the intricacies of criminal procedure led me to South by Southwest in Austin, Texas over this past spring break with 7 of those great friends. You know, to test out those 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendments we all learned so much about. So, as we all move forward into the legal world, and undoubtedly face the stresses and troubles that a job in this field can cause, I hope we can all take solace in remembering why we came here in the first place. I know I will. It led me to this school, it led me to this career, but most importantly, it led me to all of you. So I know that I can trust that when I need it to, it will lead me in the right direction in the future. And I hope you all feel the same way. Thank you very much.
Each year, the third-year council of students holds a competition to select who will speak on behalf of the class. The student selected this year was a senior articles editor for the Hastings Law Journal, a research assistant for a member of the faculty, and intern for several government agencies. From Coushatta, Louisiana, he received his undergraduate degree in English with honors from the University of Cincinnati and won a playwriting prize while there. Prior to law school, he worked as a beekeeper, teacher, and bellman, among other fields. Please welcome to the podium, John Beard.
Thank you, Frank. All right, thank you. So you can tell I despise that hat, and this is a nightmare come true, but thank you for allowing me to speak with you today. Before I address the class proper, I do want to thank all of the loved ones here and all the loved ones who could not be here for helping to put all of you into your seats today through their countless acts of inspiration, encouragement, doggedness, love, and sacrifice. I won't say that you guys are the best, but I will say that your loved ones could have done far, far worse. So, thank you. I would love to tell you stories about law school, but honestly, all of my best stories revolve around a small bar up the street from Hastings called the Brown Jug. Yes, very few of you have been there, I think. It's the only place I've been where the bartender has called the cops, and it was the bartender that was taken to jail. I did receive in part my education there. It was on how to bet on horses, mainly from people who were only at the Brown Jug because they did not actually know how to bet on horses. But for whatever small epiphanies I've gathered there, I won't bore you with those details. So instead, I'd rather give you my unchecked, possibly unfounded optimism. I suppose we can call it advice. That is a task that I think I am woefully unprepared for, but I'll soldier on. Teed up more of this time. Thank you. When it comes to law school, it's easy to think that there are definite winners and that there are definite losers. And this sentiment begins with school rankings, it continues with exams and grades, and it ends with employment, the prospects of employment, and maybe even the disappearance thereof, and perhaps finally clerking at the food court in the mall. Success is fleeting and failure is forever. That's not a very upbeat message. Nor do I actually think that is true, so please don't remember that of me. But I don't think that's true, and I want you to believe me. Because if you don't believe me, then you must either feel that you are unbeatable or that you are doomed. And both are equally boring. And whichever way you swing, your stories will suck and be unbearable. If people in this world still had cocktail parties, no one would want to talk to you. I might have promised you optimism earlier. I still may deliver. I guess in part what I'm trying to say is don't mind losing a bit here and there. Each loss is but a scratch. And take heart that no one has yet to say death by 1,000 scratches. Although, full disclosure, except for a news article from 2010 on something called the soft insurance market, but I didn't want to lie to you. Someone actually has used that phrase before. So, now this being one of these kinds of speeches, I suppose I owe you a quote, which is what people love. George Bernard Shaw, respected playwright or whatever, once said, I think, I learned long ago never to wrestle with a pig. You get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. Now, with all respect to George, if you care to learn anything from anyone today, and I don't think that you should because it is graduation day, but if you do, you should learn from the pig. 1, they are a very intelligent animal. 2, they look out for each other. And 3, when it comes to success and failure, it's all just mud, so you might as well find a way to enjoy every bit of it. So if I could say, in sum, it is to simply endure. But endure the misfortunes and setbacks in good spirits and with good company, that good company knowing exactly where you've been, and they will appreciate your good stories. And for all the times when what I've just rambled on doesn't ring true to you, which might be often, I'll get the first round. Soda's fine, or water's fine, if that's your poison. It fits my budget. I know a place up the street from Hastings, and I know a guy who has a line on a sure bet. Thank you very much, class of 2014. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you so much to both of our student speakers. Now we introduce the keynote speaker, the official commencement speaker. UC Hastings is proud to be the original law department of the University of California system and to maintain its affiliation with one of the greatest systems of higher education anywhere in the world. while also being an independent institution with its own budget, policies, and structure. Today, we welcome a friend, the 20th president of the University of California system, who took office just this past fall. Janet Napolitano leads a university system consisting of 10 campuses in addition to UC Hastings, 5 medical centers, 3 affiliated national laboratories, a statewide agricultural and natural resources research program with 234,000 students overall, and approximately 208,000 faculty and staff, more than 1.6 million living alumni, and an annual operating budget of over $24 billion, none of which comes to UC Hastings. President Napolitano is a distinguished public servant with a record of leading large, complex organizations at the federal and state levels. She served as the United States Secretary of Homeland Security from 2009 to 13, Governor of Arizona from 2003 to 2009, as Attorney General of Arizona from 1998 to 2003, and as the United States Attorney for Arizona from 1993 to 1997. Prior to that, she practiced law with the firm of Lewis and Roca in Phoenix, where she became a partner in 1989. She began her legal career as a clerk for Judge Mary M. Schroeder of the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit. A New York City native, President Napolitano grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Albuquerque, New Mexico, where her father was Dean of the University of New Mexico School of Medicine. She earned her BS degree, summa cum laude, in 1979 from Santa Clara University, and where she was the university's first female valedictorian, a Truman Scholar, and Phi Beta Kappa. She then earned her Juris Doctor in 1983 from the University of Virginia Law School. Everyone, please join me in welcoming to the podium President Janet Napolitano.
Thank you. Thank you, Chancellor. It is a great honor to be with you this afternoon, to see families, friends, and guests, all of whom, by the way, we've applauded you before, but it's 3 years of law school, so let's applaud them a third time. And now an even bigger round for the graduates. They're getting out. You know, after you cross the stage today, you will become the newest graduates of the oldest law school on the West Coast. And I must say, I envy you. I envy what's before you in life. I envy all the fresh opportunities that lie ahead for you to make a difference in the world. See, my hope for you is this, that you will learn in the coming years that what matters most is not the size of your paycheck. It's not whether your name is on the law firm door. You will learn that in the profession of the law, it's not how much you make, but whether you make a difference. So today, you join a new family. It's the family that is the alumni of the Hastings College of the Law. This is a family that has demonstrated an incredible commitment to public service, an incredible commitment to making a difference. So let me tell you about 3 members of this family. The first one is a Hastings graduate from the class of 1989. This man was whip smart, an affable man with a patient ear. He was born in Grass Valley in the gold country, yet he lived much of his adult life throughout the Middle East and North Africa. Without question, he was one of the most talented American diplomats in the Foreign Service, and he dreamed someday of returning to the West Coast, perhaps to here, to be a law professor. Now, this man could have been an extremely successful partner in a big law firm, but he was from Hastings, and from the time he served in the Peace Corps in Morocco, he knew that the path of public service was the one for him. He dedicated himself to advancing the cause of world peace, to making a difference, and he paid for that dedication with his life. So please join me in a moment of silence and remembrance of alumni Ambassador Chris Stevens. Thank you. Let me tell you about another Hastings graduate. This one was from the class of 1958. He is recognized as a political power broker in California, but before that came to pass, he was co-chair of the California delegation to the 1972 Democratic National Convention. Now, at that convention, there was a battle for the party nomination for President of the United States, and it was between two candidates, George McGovern and Hubert Humphrey. This was a contentious time in our country, and it was a contentious convention. The societal revolution of the 1960s was bearing fruit. The Vietnam War was in play. Civil rights were also in play. The Democratic establishment backed Humphrey, but the California delegation, reflecting the wishes of the state it represented, wanted an end to the war in Vietnam. Those 271 delegates stood ready to cast their votes for the anti-war McGovern. So the Humphrey supporters tried to unseat them. The California co-chair, the man from Hastings, rose to the occasion. He stood on the convention floor and he looked those party leaders straight in the eye and he thundered, "Give me back my delegation. Seat my delegation." This was Willie Brown, and it was a great moment in his public life. His argument was built more on passion than on parliamentary procedure, but he prevailed. Brown alone kept the California delegation and its votes on the convention floor. Willie Brown was from Hastings, and he made a difference. So let's move to a third member. You can clap, yeah, it's all right. Let's move to a third member of the Hastings family. This graduate was from the class of 1976. She was fresh out of Hastings when she began her service as an aide to Congressman Leo Ryan. Now, in the 1970s, Ryan represented California's 11th district, not far from here. During that time, he began to read and hear disturbing accounts about the People's Temple. This was a religious community, a cult, as we would learn, that had moved to Guyana from San Francisco. There were rumors that the members, and these included many, many children, were being abused. So Ryan decided to lead a congressional delegation to find out what was happening and what could be done to help. The Hastings graduate went with him. She knew this would be a dangerous mission. Before she left, she wrote out her will. But she and Ryan and those who traveled with them saw what they suspected to be a serious wrong and flew halfway around the world to try to make it right. They wanted to use the congressional position to make a difference. And they paid a heavy price. When People's Temple members ambushed the team on the tarmac in Jonestown, Ryan and 4 others were killed. The Hastings graduate was shot 5 times in the ambush. Jackie Spear waited 22 hours for help, and she still carries pieces of bullets with her. But they have never stopped her from a life in public service, as a U.S. Congresswoman, as a California state senator, as a California state assemblywoman, and as the youngest person ever elected to the San Mateo Board of Supervisors. Most recently, she has focused her attention on curbing sexual assault on college campuses, a concern I share. And I am counting on Representative Spear as an ally as we address this important issue. Jackie Spear is from Hastings, and to this day, She is making a difference. These are dramatic examples, yes, but the point remains. I urge you, as you take your place in the legal profession, to consider what difference you will make. Because fundamentally, making a difference as a lawyer means devoting time for public service. That's what makes the practice of law a profession and not just a job. Let's consider what lawyers do. They keep the doors of the courthouse open to those who seek vindication and fairness. They make sure that crime victims have a champion while defendants' rights are protected. They fight for civil rights and for human rights. They hold people accountable, landlords and tenants, employers and employees, even the president, him or herself. Now you have received a Hastings education, so you know the role that public service plays in giving a career and a life true purpose. You have the lessons of the guiding stars, those Hastings graduates who came before you. You also possess the hard work you invested in yourself during the last years. And added to this is your experience in a law school that is justifiably lauded for the diversity of its student body. When it comes to diversity at elite law schools, Hastings leads the way. And we are doing what we can at the other University of California law schools to catch up to Hastings on the diversity front. So this brings me to the final member of the Hastings family I'd like to talk with you about. Her name is Clara Foltz. How many of you have heard of Clara Foltz? Raise your hand. Just a couple. Just a couple. Okay, here's the story. Clara was a single, divorced mother with 5 children, but she was determined to become a lawyer. She double-checked the qualifications required for the California State Bar, and she discovered that she met all of them except one. She was not a white man. So, Clara rewrote the law that governed the practice of law in California. She successfully lobbied in Sacramento for its passage. But Clara, who was herself not a person of color, didn't just want to take care of herself. She wanted all Californians to benefit. And so her bill, which was titled the Woman's Lawyer's Bill, replaced the phrase white man with these words: any citizen or person resident of the state. After spending time at Hastings, Clara went on to become the first woman lawyer in California. She helped create the U.S. public defender system. In her free time, she taught women law students in her office. And when Clara died in 1934, the governor of California was one of her pallbearers. She was from Hastings, and she made a difference. And 80 years after her death, that difference can be seen all around you. Take a look. You and your classmates all come from different backgrounds, different races, ethnicities, different genders. You share in this incredible achievement, one that began with just one woman who, against all odds, saw a wrong and resolved to make it right. Now it's your turn. So you can take time today to celebrate this graduation. At the brown jug, I may go. But as you celebrate this moment and reflect on the glories and travails of the last years, don't forget to also cast your eyes forward. What will be your path? What stories will be told about you to future generations of graduates? What difference, after all, will you make? And what is your commitment to making that difference? I, for one, am excited to see what the class of 2014 will accomplish. And I know this class will make a huge difference for your families in this community, in this state, and in this nation. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the University of California President, Janet Napolitano. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to proceed with the awarding of academic degrees. I would like to remind guests to remain seated. We will begin with the degree of Master of Studies in Law. This is the second year for our newest degree program, a model for other law schools around the nation. Our MSL program has been designed for health or science professionals to gain a sophisticated understanding of the law as it applies in their line of work. Though small in numbers, our MSL students are mighty in experience. They include medical doctors, nurses, physician assistants, professors, social workers, and scientists. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Studies in Law please stand? President Napolitano, on behalf of the faculty of the University of California, Hastings College of the Law, I have the honor to present for the rank of Master of Studies in Law these individuals who have successfully completed the curriculum of UC Hastings College of the Law and who are entitled to the ancient rank of Master.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, in accordance with the procedures and regulations of the university, I hereby confer upon you, the graduates of the class of 2014 from UC Hastings College of the Law, the Master of Studies in Law degree, certified by Chancellor and Dean Wu and the faculty, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
In 2002, UC Hastings launched its LLM program, which draws students from around the world. The flags of the countries that our LLM graduates came from are on stage today as recognition of their contribution to UC Hastings, symbolizing the global reach of this institution and the importance of rule of law. Will the candidates for the degree of Master of Laws please stand? President Napolitano, on behalf of the faculty of UC Hastings College of the Law, I have the honor to present for the rank of Master of Laws these individuals who have successfully completed the curriculum at UC Hastings College of the Law and are entitled to the ancient rank of Master.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, in accordance with the procedures and regulations of the university, I hereby confer upon you, the graduates of the class of 2014 from UC Hastings College of the Law, the Masters of Law degree certified by Chancellor and Dean Wu and the faculty, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Since our founding in 1878 by the Honorable Sir Ernest Clinton Hastings, the first Chief Justice of California, the University of California Hastings College of the Law has been California's first law school, the first law school of the American West. UC Hastings has been at the center of the legal community in the West for 136 years since then, this being our 133rd graduating class of Juris Doctor students. Will the candidates for the degree of Juris Doctor please stand? Bunch. It's good to see. President Napolitano, on behalf of the faculty, I have the honor to present these individuals who have successfully completed the curriculum of the University of California, Hastings College of the Law for the degree of Juris Doctor.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, in accordance with the procedures and regulations of the university, I hereby confer upon you, the graduates of the class of 2014 from UC Hastings College of the Law, the Juris Doctor degree, certified by Chancellor and Dean Wu and the faculty, with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Max G. Mazzelli. John A. Beard. Jonathan R. Fortman. Shirley Irene Stiver. Yu Tsuda. Janusz H. Gloska. Jonathan Reckenstein. Sontia Kenku Kek. Luis Q. Ungarechi Bastos. Alessandro Di Carlo. Anthea J. Kamalnath. Julia Fernanda Finn. Ksenia Ikonkova. Fatima Mazanova. Natalia Yaroshevsky. Olivia Haynes. Kate O. Awara. Christella Meda. Diana Menchikova. Momoko Miyazaki. Ji-sun Lee. Angel Wen. Peiyu Lee. Iris Huang. Xiao Ye. Masahiro Mori. Yaadni Hufnagel. Joan Lee. Ashley Cressida Valdez. Cassandra Jean Shryock. Michelle Patricia LaRocca. Dara Gabrielle Protas. Adria S. Tenser. Brian P. Cadigan. Armin Komeli. Tony Nicole Leggett. Megan E. Brady. Jennifer Lian. Allison Harms. Alan Tolleth. Mitsuteru Terry Irie. Michael R. Callahan Dudley. Robert J. M. Nicholas C. Billings. Dr. Nancy L. Bruder. James S. Clevey. Sean Michael Juarez. Benjamin G. Blumenthal. Patrick Kirby Madden. Joshua T. Martin. Benjamin Buckwalter. Lauren Beth Wilner. Caitlin E. Keegan. Caitlin E. Cohane. Ashley E. Flood. Kayla Odom. Justin R. Punichpak. Robert P. McBride. Bob Hamill. Ryan B. Kadavari. Shu He. Jennifer Yu. Gianna N. Gross. Vicky I. Mack. Tina Yan. Nancy Lee. Moggy Cherimi. Igor Voloshin. Annika Rose Huntley. Sarah Huffman. Amanda K. Leaf. Ari D. Fitzwater. R. Stone Lee. Dustin C. Ingram. Nicholas J. Van Grin. Homira Kalji. Roseanne J. O'Hara. Suzanne M. Casaza. Tahia Sultan. Hui M. Chang. Tina W. Liu. Catherine Sun. Robert Cashin. Umar Khan. Taylor Hoban. Andrew G. Guess. Alex J. Mogg. Alana Jacobs. Catherine V. Feaster. Jacob J. True. Daniel Jonathan Chang. Paul K. Kwan. Amtoj Singh Randawa. Michael Robert Dickerson. Molly A. Jones. Lauren Elizabeth Phelps Ball. Jessica M. Jory. Patrick F. Veazey. Kevin K. Sharani. Samantha Corner. Amit K. Nagra. Mark J. Boscovich. Alex J. Kwok. Robert S. Greer. Jeffrey P. Bauman. Brett M. Corbett. Linda P. Lamb. Molly Ann Cagle. David On Chang. James J. Parinello. Tess Sarah Brandwine. Kavana Reagan. Haley Ann Hartman. Lisa M. Parrish. Anahid Bazarjani. Ashley Elizabeth Colton Hungisto. James A. Brusso. Emily Borman. Michael K. Hutchinson. Christopher Jones. Ryan A. Wittens. Patrick A. Glenn. Justine Wallace. Jessica Alexis Gomez. Michael Stolte. David M. Pearl. Jessica R. Rowan. Lana Nasura. Jillian P. Harris. Lindsay D. Johnson. Scott J. Coulter. Michaela Keys. Tina Tanaz Mogadam. Joshua Ryan Jacobs. Hannah Sue Hartshorn. Taylor Cashwell. Amanda Hamilton. Elizabeth K. Hamilton. Sarah Fielding. Angela Shurkanlu. James Fook Van. David J. Zimmerman. Elaine Tanujaya. William J. Ha. Hassan Rezakhani. Omid Shirazi. Tyler J. Kastner. Daniel N. Huang. Raymond A. Hay. Evan M. Reese. Giovanni G. Macias. Wortham Frank Briscoe, Jr. Maya Dillard Smith. Robert P. Saka. Benjamin Leo Bartlett. Ryan Michael Harrison. Faryar Ghazanfari. Michael F. Lafond. Yair Chaver. Tyler D. Kasasha. Elena Gecker. Nurali S. Patel. Ashley I. Weiss. Sophia Cizmarek. Irina V. Lapis. Monica Yi Hernandez. Daniela A. Loxo. Julie Yin Zong. Morgan Shea McGinnis. Jessica I. Joseph. Padmini Cheruvu. Patty Lynn. Courtney R. Dyer. Jasmine A. Braxton. Evan D. Brewer. J. B. Schiller. Layla Razavi. Scott R. McMaster. Leslie Akemi Gutierrez. Saron Wodemichael Tesfaye. Angelina L. Clay. Brooke L. McCarthy. Edgar Nazaretian. Deborah L. Romo. Sarah E. Stratton. Daigo Takahashi. Jalpa Shah. Nairi Shekardemian. Julian Sanchez Mora. Augustine Max Vallejo II. Aruj Golzar. Joel Espino. Edelmira Isabel Diaz Weaver. Lisa L. Garcia. Adriana Beach. Omar Para. Sasha Ali Akbar Amid. Oscar Victoria. Jesus Mendoza Moreno. Martha Abundis. Janet Choi. Maria Claudia Tapia. Adalberto Corres Morales. Peter N. Chow. Mayela Montenegro. Jessica E. Lopez. Marvin H. Nettles, Jr. Jerron Harding. Tiana R. Seymour. Edward D. Matta. Matthew G. Kovac. Joanna Hossack. Hassan Aburish. Evan Snall. Mary C. Vager. Deborah Yu. Shanshan Feng. Lillian H. Kong. Jessica J. Choi. Ashley C. Tolles. Alexander Chang. Victoria Haesung Shin. June Kim. Michelle L. Ing. Eric E. Kim. Nicholas Roth. Deanna Chia. Tiffany F. Eng. Joshua Park. Aaron D. Chua. Fawn Vo. Kathleen Rin Cho. Chow N. Trong. Maureen Chang. Cece Shi Wan. Brian C. Eng. Chase R. Thompson. Vanessa Center Stroud. James Kim. Adam Dane Wilson. Daniel E. Trowbridge. Joel Aurora. Joseph L. Ryan. Melis Adelaide. Ashley K. Hoffman. Nicole Misha Goodwin. Eric T. Flyshaker. Samantha J. Sweetlikowski. Riley T. Stoller. Blake T. Sullivan. Stuart R. Pollock. Andrew Klein. David Gable. Aaron Jock. Jacqueline E. Nicora. Laura E. Leith. Nicholas Bondar Nettis. Brian A. King. Sasha S. Hahn. Baraka M. Amaral. Ashley K. Nance. Eric T. Reichenbacher. Cassandra K. Kirchhoff. Sean P. Johnson. Barry D. Bryan. Sarah B. Craig. Margot E. H. Stevens. Dana Rebecca Cohn. Erin V. Henry. Shannon I. Rogan. Max H. Schneider. Pedram Ghaffori. Alem N. Sendaba. David F. Mansour. Brian Sherman. Ryan P. Tung. Sarah Grace Noland. Megan F. Clark. Alyssa A. Esser Khan. Bradford Bowen. Brandon Gallivan. Dane Patterson. Stephen M. Lim. Eric J. DiUlio. Samuel R. Melamed. Josiah Nathan Hauk. Ryan Fox. Daniel N. Fishman. Brandon K. Franklin. Stacy M. Bovin. Jennifer Freeland. Jake D. Wexler. Sonia M. Jacob. Kevin McCarthy. Tyler S. Dominguez. Eric J. Christensen. John Beamer. Gabriel Nevin. Megan E. Murray. Behnaz Salimian. John Christopher Molina. Son Lam Huang. Adam A. Vukovic. Nima S. Giassi. Madeline Jane Warren. Samantha A. Goldstein. Clara Maureen Nabiti. Julia Weisner. Montana Musso. Lauren K. Vandenberg. Brian D. Roth. Robin Chang. Catherine L. Webb. Kyla Gibney. Catherine Elizabeth Tague. John S. Tynes. Scott K. Armstrong. Karen Ning So. Nicholas R. Perkins. Sherry Marie Patterson. Stalacia Marie Legit. Makisha L. Adams. Luz Elena Mendoza. Lauren Jasmine Collins. Saad B. Swalem. Tanisha Nicole Gooch. Adam Aston Doost. Nicole S. Bates. Mariana Corey. Rachel B. Kinney. Unica Yanis. Mary Odessa Powers. Elva Emma Linares. Bianca Rodriguez. James Jimbo Newman IV. Saya Johnson. Ravinder Singh Rungi. Gabriel Espinosa Ramos. Demetria Latrice Sampson. Melissa Charlene Macias. Brittany N. Sturdivant. Michelle Angeles. Lilith Hirapati Minasian. Jessica J. Huang. Ariel Bland. Suanne D. Kessler. Hannah E. Butler. Nicholas Logan Gahn. Byron M.X. Huang. Zachary J. Eskridge. Anna Chang. Helen Lu Chow. Eric W. Spears. Sean Pan. Melissa C. Nold. Melissa Gant. Michelle R. Chasman. Jackie Victoria Yu. Annie W. Munene. Tamara Teresa Bartlett. Jacqueline Virginia Younger. Brittany Neufeld Fredrickson. Ryan Harlan Burse. Jeanette May Barnard. Aria Ghaffari. Pedro Hernandez Jr. Emily Erdman. Courtney Oxen Magner. Karina Newbro. Omar T. Boyen. Eric Byron Whitehead. Brendan Gannon. Cody Nevels. Eric Geeson Fields. Shaker Darkay. Alexander J. Papas. Julie Chow. Angelique N. Kaur. Evan Michael McLean. Grant P. Downing. Eric Sanders. Philip Babick. Stephen F. Anderson. Christopher K. Spears. Jamie May Chang. Monica Yoon. Jennifer Coleman Lee. Nicholas H. Yu.
That concludes the conferral of degrees for the commencement ceremony of 2014. Finally, by tradition, the graduating class elects a member of the faculty to deliver farewell remarks. This year, the class of 2014 has chosen Professor John Crawford. Professor Crawford joined the faculty of UC Hastings in 2011 after serving as a lecturer and teaching fellow at a nearby Bay Area law school. Prior to his fellowship, he worked as a corporate associate at Davis Polk and Wardwell and clerk for the Honorable John T. Noonan, Jr. of the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit here in San Francisco. Prior to law school, he served as a United States Peace Corps volunteer in Haiti and worked at an international development consulting firm. The father of 3 young boys, he is disappointed that none of them has yet mastered the rule against perpetuities, despite his best efforts. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Professor John Crawford. It's a high honor, John.
I believe that I am the final hurdle standing between you and your after parties. I was asked to keep my remarks to 45 minutes, and I will try. But if I spill over a little bit, please bear with me. This is embarrassing. I'm sorry. It doesn't say 45 minutes, it says 4 to 5 minutes. They wanted me to keep this in the range of 4 to 5 minutes. Oh well. Class of 2014, it's an incredible honor to be addressing you today. I started at Hastings with you, and you'll always hold a very, very, very special place in my heart. Precisely because it's such an honor, it's also very hard to write a speech like this. I was helped a great deal by reflecting back on the speeches at my own graduation ceremonies, of which I remember absolutely nothing. You can imagine how that eases the pressure I feel to say something profound today. I nonetheless remain somewhat abashed at trying to dispense wisdom to you, so many of whom I've had the chance to get to know. And that's because of the remarkable range and richness of talent and life experience that's embedded in this class. I know so many of you have faced and overcome challenges that I haven't, and I know you know so many things I don't. Perhaps more importantly, I know you know things in ways that I don't, because there's a big difference between knowing things through experience and knowing them as a mere intellectual proposition. It's the difference between practical wisdom and theoretical knowledge. I thought I'd tell you a story about that difference and how it played out in a moment of crisis in my own life, a moment when the most obvious advice in the world would not and did not avail me. I may or may not have understood intellectually what I needed to fix the problem that I was facing, but I definitely lacked the practical wisdom to apply that knowledge in my life and actions. I was a nerd in college. Nothing at all like I am now. My self-image was of a voracious learner who would leave no stone unturned in the pursuit of knowledge. I majored in philosophy and thought I would go to graduate school and become a philosophy professor. But something happened my senior year. I experienced a kind of writer's block and reader's block, which was unfortunate because my classes involved nothing except writing and reading. There were no problem sets, no presentations, not even any exams. It was just reading and lots of papers. I didn't turn in a single paper on time the entire year, except for my senior thesis, and that was only because the philosophy department issued repeated written warnings to its senior concentrators that no late thesis would be accepted for any reason, quote, good or bad, medical or moral. Words that haunt me still. 60 hours before the thesis was due, I sat down to write it. I didn't sleep or shower, but I managed to get the thesis in on time. It was so stressful, thank you. It was terrible. It was so stressful though that I developed a minor but very itchy rash and couldn't stop scratching myself. True story. And right after I turned in the thesis, I ran into a young woman that I had a bit of a crush on and thought and hoped that it might be mutual. Alas, I remember like it was yesterday the look of repugnance on her face as she watched me, unshaven and unshowered, uninhibited and half mad from lack of sleep, scratching myself like a dog with fleas. We didn't see each other much after that. The thesis was not my finest work, and my senior year was a bit of a catastrophe academically. And this was despite the fact that I loved the material I was studying and desperately wanted to learn it and master it. In fact, much later, I realized that the very magnitude of my ambition to devour the Western canon had reached a point that year where it seemed to paralyze me as I sat down to tackle any individual text. I didn't go to graduate school. Instead, I got out and lived a little bit, which was a very, very good thing in retrospect. I haven't done a complete autopsy on that year, but the insight about being paralyzed helped me a lot when I found myself back in graduate school in a different subject 7 years later and was able to reestablish my academic sea legs. You've all heard of the importance of not losing the forest for the trees. In other words, not getting so mired in details that you lose sight of the big picture and of the purpose that's motivating your work. The insight about paralysis and my own experience of it taught me that it's also important not to lose the trees for the forest. In other words, not to become so overwhelmed by what you hope to accomplish that you lose the ability to hunker down and focus on the here and now and on the task at hand. I imagine some of you may be thinking, thank you, Captain Obvious, and you're right. But the point isn't really about forestry or focus, as important as those are. It's rather about how sometimes painful experience is necessary to learn life's truths, to really grasp them, even the obvious ones. And in paying attention to that fact, I think that we can gain a sort of humility as we contemplate ourselves and compassion as we contemplate others, and hope as we contemplate either. So my wish for you as you make your way in your career is that you bring not only your hard-won knowledge of the law, but also your hard-won practical wisdom to bear when you represent clients, persuade courts, and seek justice. And my wish for you as you make your way in life is the same as my continuing wish for myself, and that is, to paraphrase the great poet Rainer Rilke, that we be patient with ourselves and learn to live life's important questions, that we remain alive to them until one day, if we're fortunate, we live ourselves into the answers. Two final things. First of all, for the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. And second of all, I'd just like to express my bitterness, class of 2014, that you're abandoning me here now. Thanks a lot. You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about me or my colleagues up here on stage. We'll be all right. We'll find other students. It's fine. Never mind, we'll find someone like you. We wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget us, we beg. We remember you said, sometimes it lasts in law, but sometimes it hurts instead. Sometimes love does hurt, sometimes love is hard. Loving this class has not been hard for me. My 3 years at Hastings have been the best of my professional career, and that's due very largely to you. I've loved getting to know you in class and out. You've impressed and inspired me again and again with your intelligence, kindness, and humor. Thank you, class of 2014. I'll miss you, but I'm so proud of you and so happy for you, and I really, really can't wait to see what you'll do next. Congratulations.
I was a little worried that Professor Crawford tore up my script. That concludes our formal program for the afternoon. On behalf of everyone at the University of California, Hastings College of the Law, I extend the college's warm appreciation and gratitude to all who took part in today's commencement ceremony. I ask that the graduates and the audience remain seated until after the platform party has completed the recessional. Then the audience should remain seated until the graduates have exited the auditorium. Following these events inside, there will be light refreshments right in front of the building on Grove Street. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2014. Thank you so very much.